The keys were handed to her like they had always belonged there. "Here," my dad said, smiling at my sister. "This suits you better." I froze. The black SUV, my SUV, the one Grandma had gifted me on my graduation day. The one she had said, "This is for you, something of your own." My sister laughed, flipping the keys between her fingers. "Oh wow, finally something decent," she said. "Decent?" My mom glanced at me, irritation thinly veiled as concern. "Don't make a scene," she whispered. "You barely use it anyway." Barely use it. I remembered every late-night drive. Every quiet moment I had spent in that car when life felt too loud. It wasn't just a vehicle. It was the first thing that had ever been truly mine. And they just handed it over, like it meant nothing. "She deserves it more," my dad added casually. "You're not exactly going anywhere in life right now." A few relatives chuckled. Not loudly, just enough. That soft, familiar humiliation. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I didn't remind them that the car wasn't theirs to give. Because in that moment I realized something very important. People don't disrespect you loudly first. They do it casually, when they are sure you won't resist. I looked at my sister, already walking toward the driveway, keys spinning around her finger like a trophy. Then I looked at my parents. For a second, I almost spoke. But I didn't. I just nodded once, calm, controlled, and stepped back. I didn't say anything, not because I had nothing to say, but because I had finally understood everything. They thought they had won. They had no idea what I was about to do next. I stopped arguing after that day. Not just about the SUV, about everything. It wasn't a choice I announced. It was a quiet shift inside me. I stopped trying to prove anything to them. Instead, I focused on building myself. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Late nights became normal. Early mornings stopped feeling like a punishment. Every hour I spent working, learning, improving, I felt a little stronger than the day before. I took every opportunity seriously, even the small ones. I learned skills I had ignored, connected with people who inspired me, and slowly, almost invisibly, started creating my own stability. Meanwhile, their world stayed the same. My sister flaunted the SUV at family gatherings, posting photos and stories online. My parents proudly told everyone how generous they had been, how I didn't care anyway. I didn't argue. I didn't post anything. I didn't complain. But I noticed. I noticed the cracks forming in their lives. My sister struggled with bills, her new friends weren't reliable, and her laughter at my expense slowly sounded hollow. My parents, busy maintaining appearances, were constantly stressed, forgetting details, losing track of the very people they thought they were controlling. And me? I kept moving forward. Quietly, consistently, methodically. I bought my first car after months of saving, not because I wanted to compete, but because I wanted freedom. I upgraded my skills and took a position that my parents had once scoffed at. I started investing, building something that didn't rely on their approval. Every step was deliberate, invisible, yet transformative. Then came small moments of near reveal. A distant relative asking, "Where is she now? Is she really doing that?" A colleague mentioning my success. Nothing loud, nothing public, just hints that my world was growing while theirs was shrinking. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I simply worked harder, stayed calm, and kept improving. They were still talking about me at every gathering, whispering, judging, underestimating. But I was already far ahead of them. Their noise no longer reached me. I had learned the most important lesson. Respect is never demanded. Power is never shouted, and silence is rarely weakness. While they counted my absence as a loss, I had already counted every moment as a step toward my future. By the time they realized something had changed, I was already in a place they couldn't touch. They were still talking about me. I was already far ahead of them. The family gathering was quiet, almost tense. Everyone had noticed the subtle shift over the past months, my quiet absence, the small victories I hadn't announced, the air of confidence I now carried. The SUV sat in the driveway, gleaming under the afternoon sun. My sister had parked it there proudly, expecting admiration. Instead, it became the backdrop for the moment no one saw coming. Grandma entered, cane in hand but eyes sharp as ever. The room went silent. She looked at my parents first, then at my sister, and finally, at me. Her gaze didn't judge, it simply observed. "I've been hearing a lot of chatter," she said softly, her voice carrying through the silence. "About who deserved what, about who is doing well and who isn't, and about my SUV. My sister shifted uneasily. My parents' smiles faltered. Grandma turned toward the SUV. "This car was a gift," she said, pausing so everyone could feel the weight of her words. A gift meant for someone who needed it, yes, but also for someone who would earn it, cherish it, and use it wisely. Not because it's shiny, but because it's theirs. I stepped forward calmly, letting the room absorb the tension. "Grandma gave it to me," I said quietly. "Not because I asked, but because she knew who I am and what I would do with it." The room shifted. My sister's triumphant smirk faltered. My parents looked at me, unsure whether to scold, apologize, or stay silent. Grandma smiled faintly, a knowing smile that said more than words ever could. "I think that settles it." No one argued. No one interrupted. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't shout. I didn't gloat. I simply walked past them, my calmness stronger than any words could have been. Later, when they tried to speak, my parents and sister found themselves at a loss. The realization had hit. The person they had dismissed, the quiet one they underestimated, had grown beyond their reach. I turned once toward them, only to say, "I didn't leave because I was weak. I left because I finally understood my worth." And that was enough. Grandma's response had done more than settle an argument. It had revealed the truth. Respect cannot be taken, power cannot be forced, and silence often holds the strongest force of all. They thought I was weak because I was quiet. They didn't know I was simply busy becoming strong.